So I've just been tidying up on the allotment, end of year tidy up. This is probably my last video on the allotment this year. Not much is going on really now, just harvesting. Got nothing to plant until next year. Yeah, just keeping things neat and tidy. Anyway, I thought I'd quickly, before I lose the light, do a tour. So if you look over there, I'll zoom in so you can see all the plots around me and the path to get to my plot is completely flooded. My plot being slightly higher up, being completely level because I leveled it, and being full of wood chip that soaks up the water so well, is actually pretty dry. Got a nice bed of spinach here. This will probably be cleared sometime sort of late February, I'm guessing. At that time, spinach growth really kicks off, and I don't need as much spinach as I've got planted, so I can get that replanted with something. I can't remember what's on my plan for that. I've got some early red cabbages there, and some early Brussels sprouts for a summer harvest of Brussels sprouts, but a harvest of leaves from about May time. Actually, this bag is full of purple sprouting broccoli that is completely infested with clubroot. So I've just cleared that bed, I'll show you it in a minute. So another bed of spinach. These are one of my favourite spring varieties. I'll try and differentiate between the winter varieties and the spring varieties. So this one I think is Responder, and that one is a red stemmed one, that's Rubino. Some more blueberries in here, keep on adding blueberries. Trees are completely dormant now, so all the trees have dropped all the leaves here now, so I can start wood chipping the paths. Down here I've got all the elephant garlic, it's all coming through quite nicely. And then this is my winter and spring carrot bed. So not as many carrots as we had last year, but I've got all of them now interplanted with lettuce, and they're all looking a bit feeble, but these lettuce aren't for harvesting until well into spring. And I've got more spinach interplanted into that bed as well. And then if I crouch down here, you see I've got another lettuce bed, which looks way better from this angle. So yeah, I'll stick to this angle for that one. And actually that one looks quite nice as well, until you kind of get a little bit closer and you think, well, those are meant to be all hearted up by now, and they're nowhere near. So I don't know, they've grown so slowly this year, whereas the ones in the polytunnel have been absolutely fine. Very strange. Anyway, a few scrappy Asian greens. So all of this bed is going to get replanted pretty soon actually. Probably in February or late January, putting peas all the way down the back here. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to put in these main beds, but it'll be something good. A little overwintered onions, tough ball primarily there. That's the bed where the purple sprouting broccoli was that had the clubroot. I've just cleared that and reconditioned it. That's going to be Asian greens in late January. I'm pretty excited to get those in actually, because the Asian greens in the polytunnel will probably have gone to seed by the end of February, so there's a lot riding on these. And I am aware that they probably will get clubroot, but my theory is that clubroot really doesn't seem to affect the harvest until well into spring, and obviously by then the Asian greens will be finished and this bed will have been replanted with something else. So I do have lots of purple sprouting broccoli left. I'll put these nets on just to protect them from the pigeons a bit, and yeah, getting a few little purple sprouting broccoli florets on them. So I've got two of those looking pretty good underneath these nets. I'm not taking them off though. And now I've got strawberries, salad rocket, which is looking pretty sorry for itself now. You know, we haven't had the best of weather, extraordinarily damp and cold, then, well, extraordinarily damp, then extraordinarily cold, then extraordinarily damp again. It's just not good, not good conditions for growing anything really. But yet again, I'm very close to replanting this in January, so I'm not so worried. And that was my little experimental bed of all different sorts of beet family leaves. So chard and various beetroot varieties and things like that. I have been harvesting it for the salad mixes. I can't say it's a great success. I'd rather have Asian greens or lettuce, to be honest. But I might try it again next year. I don't know. If I do, I'll plant them a bit earlier. And I've got cauliflowers and more cauliflowers and salad onions. And I've just had to give these a bit of a tidy up. There were loads and loads of leaves kind of piled up in between them, and that had sort of resulted in a bit of rot on some of the leaves, which is a bit disappointing. But I think they might pull through. Got some more strawberries there. So let's have a look over here. Just about to replant these beds again in January. And when I say replant them, I'll just be taking, say, 4 spinach plants out and putting 4 calabrese plants in, for example. So I'll continue to harvest the spinach until the calabrese needs the space. And I do the same with cauliflowers and things like that. So in these beds, we'll be putting cauliflowers. I'll be taking just a few of those spinach plants out. But I will be taking all of this out. So this is Claytonia, and it was my early crop, and it didn't do very well, to be honest. I don't think Claytonia really likes it under cover early on. It much prefers it when it's cold. I'll show you that in the polytunnel in a minute. Broad beans, every single one of them, apart from those 2 that's left there. I think one's been eaten as well. Just one solitary broad bean out of that bed of broad beans. And field beans down at this end, which seem to have survived underneath this net. Not all of them though. So anyway, I'll be taking that net off soon. And I have got spares to plant in there. And then down here, I've got the spring lettuces. They've established really well. I only put those in last week, and they've put on quite a bit of growth since then. Got an empty bed. I don't like having empty beds, but I've actually got 2 of them on the plot right now. But anyway, as I said, it's nice to have something ready for January. It's all looking a little bit better out here, and it can be a bit despondent actually when you see the sort of outdoor space and the quality of everything outdoors at this time of year. But we're really growing for spring outside, primarily growing for winter in here. So so the objective is abundant spring really outside. So let's take a look. So lettuces are all doing pretty well. Again, this is the early Claytonia. It's not done so well, even though I've harvested it loads of times. It kind of seems to be probably either running out of steam now, or just desperately trying to go to seed. And I keep cutting the seed heads off, and it keeps struggling on to try and go to seed. Anyway, some lettuces down here, all looking pretty nice. These are all the Grenoble Reds. Those are the Ballark. Just started harvesting those. Roxy, Wintergreen, Riccia, and all of that. Up on this little shelf, I've got my spare broad beans, and then I've got my spare field beans, and just a couple of wild rockets. Again, they'll kind of go crazy in spring, so I don't mind that they look a bit poorly right now. Just a few spare spinach, and then up here I've got lettuces in the hanging basket, same variety as those that hadn't grown very much, and these are actually a later sowing, and these have hearted up really nicely. So I don't know what's going on with those early broad beans there. More lettuces up here. I've had a couple of them rot actually on me, which never had before, but as I said, it's not been a great year. Celery down here. This has actually survived the really hard frost that we had, whereas the stuff outside is looking a bit worse for wear now. I have brought all my red cabbages inside now, so they're all undercover, transplanted into pots. So I'm hoping that I can keep them going for another couple of months, basically all the way through winter. And that is what I want my Claytonia to look like, all of it, but it doesn't all look like that. So yeah, sowing it later definitely seems to be much better. And I've got Komatsuma here, Tatsoi here, red pak choi down there, and more Claytonia down there. And then last but not least, all of my little carrots for May and June. They're looking pretty good actually. This is just the stage I want them at this time of year, just showing the first true leaf. So if they're any bigger than that, then they tend to go to seed. So yeah, they'll just basically just stay dormant like that now for well, all the way through until March, the beginning of March, and then they really rocket away, and then I put them outside in April, and then, as I say, harvest them May and June, and then by July we've got our carrots from March sowing. So, as I've probably already said, this is very likely the last video from the allotment this year. Just closing everything up now and going home. So have a great Christmas. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.